I have a thing for rings. I have a hard time passing up a ring that's quirky and unique. So I've been having a lot of fun designing and creating my own rings this week. I'd love to show you what I've learned. I made all of these rings out of graphics shrink film. They come in a wide variety of colors and finishes. I've tried them all except for the printable inkjet film. I'll test that out on another project. The film is slippery to stamp on, so you'll need to be careful. Place the stamp straight down without wiggling it and lift straight up. Allow the ink to dry before coloring. I really loved the way Sakura Glaze pens worked on the shrink film. As the film shrinks, the glaze lose most of their shine, but the colors intensify and you're left with a beautiful, bold image. Once all the ink is dry, you need to cut out your ring. Try to make the stamped image be in the center of the strip. The strip itself should be around a ½ inch wide. The length will vary a bit depending on the size of your finger, but will likely need to be between 5 and 6 inches. I recommend rounding off the corners of the band, as angles can be a little sharp once the ring is baked. Before you bake, you'll need to find a cylinder that's about the circumference of your finger. This isn't as hard as it sounds. A lipstick or a marker might work. My favorite thing to use are these pieces from my ratchet tool set. I have a wide variety of sizes, each a millimeter larger than the last. The package also recommends using parchment paper. This is different from wax paper and freezer paper. Lay this on your cookie sheet to protect it. You'll also lay a piece on top of the ring while it's cooking, to prevent the film from curling inward. When making rings, I prefer to bake them face down because it makes them easier to shape. Preheat your oven to 350 degrees or the temperature on the package. I also recommend wearing a light winter glove. When the ring comes out of the oven, you have only seconds to shape it and the film will be hot. Once it's done baking, take the pan out of the oven and immediately place your cylinder in the center of the ring. Use the gloved finger to wrap each side of the band around the cylinder. Hold in place for a few seconds while the film hardens and cools. Slide it off the cylinder and you have a one-of-a-kind ring. I'm trying another ring with matte film. For this one, I rounded off one end of the ring band and made a concave curve at the other end. This makes the gap at the back of the ring less noticeable. As your ring bakes, it will shrink to about 1/3 of the size. It will curl and twist, but then will flatten again when it's ready. If you peek at your ring and it's curled up, it isn't finished yet. The package says it takes a couple of minutes, but in my experience, it took around 5. Just keep a close eye on it. If you don't have stamps, you can draw or trace your own design. Again, Sakura's Glaze pens are great for this. Finally, I'm testing out another type of ink pad. This is a pigment ink. I made a lot of rings because they're so fun to do, but I don't have time to show you each of them. Instead, I'll share a few more tips I learned while practicing. You can clean up small smudges with a wet wipe if you work fast. If your ring turns out bent, don't be disappointed. Prop it up right on the baking sheet and bake again. I only tested a few types of ink: Stays-On solvent ink, Ditto pigment ink, and Stampin' Up's craft pigment ink. I also tried Sakura's Glaze pens. All of these stood up to scrubbing, but Stampin' Up's white ink faded to a dove gray. The image is still clearly visible, but the coloring has changed. While it's fun for kids to make their own designs, children should not use an oven or handle the hot shrink film. For more information about the types of shrink film available, visit graphicsarts.com. For more information about Glaze pens, visit sakuraofamerica.com. For hundreds more tutorials, visit my website, madebymarzipan.com.